It's the 11th day of October, 2015, and this is the Radical Agnostic, where ideology goes to die whenever possible. My name is John. I'm your host. We got Mark on mic number 2. We got the stowaway guest, Bryan Richter, everybody.
Back for more.
And it is my pleasure to announce Black by popular demand.
Yes.
It's Donald Taylor, everybody.
The token black guy's back in the building.
More than just a token. You're a silver dollar.
Silver dollar.
You can't get enough.
Can't get enough of this stuff.
Hey, the audience, our fans can't get enough, is what it is. So just you gotta bring them back.
Give them what they want.
Plenty of issues to talk about today, folks. We started getting into pretty interesting talk right before we recorded on Republican presidential candidate Ben Carson and his recent comments regarding the last mass shooting.
Science and other things.
Oh, God, yeah. And so my mom is a fan of the show, and she's actually right now a tentative fan of Ben Carson as well. So we're going to...
And I'm crazy.
Yeah, Mom,
sorry.
You shouldn't have called Bryan crazy, Mom. So,
I'm not that crazy.
I shouldn't have told Bryan that you called him crazy.
Well, I am, but I'm not that crazy.
It was totally she loves your contribution. It was very much a nice thing.
I like your mom, too. We met. She saw you get knocked out. Like, we shared that moment.
Yes. Yeah, that was a lovely thing.
It was good.
Knocked out in the jiu-jitsu tournament.
Oh, wow.
It's a weird thing, Don. Like, Martine was telling him what to do, and John was doing everything Martine said, so he was performing at black belt level.
Right.
And then he woke up and immediately got beat. As soon as he woke up. As soon as he started doing what he wanted to do, it was over again.
I suppose there's some truth to that. I got Tominagi, which is a judo takedown where your opponent sits down, puts his feet on your hips, and flips you all the way head over heels onto your back. And he did so with aplomb. And I fell on my head, and I was knocked out.
You didn't roll on your shoulder.
I was knocked out for a couple seconds, but I was still fighting, and that happens a lot. A guy will get knocked out, and the ref will come to check him, and the guy will grab the ref's shirt and start trying to punch him in UFC, or that'll happen quite a bit because you just don't know what's going on. But
just running on muscle memory.
Yeah, you're in a bad situation, a combat. So anyway, Mom saw that. That was lovely. Yeah, so presidential candidate Ben Carson currently in second place, kind of a distant second, and it's not going to last. But
still to Trump.
Trump, 23%.
Truth is so much stranger than fiction,
yeah,
man.
My
it's
goodness.
Just so weird.
Trump at 23%, Ben Carson around 11. And number 3 now, Marco Rubio, the senator from Florida, the young man who I predicted would be the Republican nominee. So it's starting to look like I'm correct. I will be right. Because Trump and Carson aren't going to last. These guys are, they've never been elected to anything, and they say things like the following. So Ben Carson, I don't have the quote pulled up, so I don't want to, but I think we can paraphrase. It was his response to the mass shooting a couple weeks ago that, in response to that, he said, I would attack
the shooter. I wouldn't just stand there and let him shoot me.
I would attack the shooter. I wouldn't just stand there and let him shoot me. That's pretty much verbatim, I think. And he also said those students should have done such and such.
Well, and let's preface this by saying he said this all because he was asked a question. He didn't just come out
right
and have a press conference and go, hey, blah 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 blah. So let's be real about this. He was asked a question by a reporter. What would you have done? Was that the question, or was it? Do you just have a statement on the shooting, and then he launched into that, or did they ask him what would you do? I mean, they might not have asked him what would you do, but they did ask him specifically. Okay, mass shootings.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Blah blah blah.
It's just that as a presidential candidate, what he's saying is it's not even it's not a policy suggestion. to help this problem. And it's not even like a cultural policy. Like some candidates say, well, there's nothing we can do legally, but people should do such and such to stop this type of. People should be nicer, whatever. And so it wasn't even that. It was him saying.
So you want him to answer in the same way that all other politicians answer, because that has solved so many problems about this issue.
Well, what we're looking for, Mark, is systematic. Or
I'm not looking for systematic. I'm looking for truth, honesty, someone that's going to answer from their actual heart.
Fair enough.
Let me ask just the guys at the table this. Like, what's actually wrong with what he said? What's wrong with doing that rather than just
I didn't see anything wrong with it.
laying down and getting shot?
I
and
thought maybe he was just saying this is what I would do. I mean, and I think they kind of ran with it. I think he was
and
this is
that's
what
the
I
thing.
would do.
I think as a group, if
also
if
they're
you charge
running
him,
with
you
it.
have a better chance of surviving than if you just lay there and
Yes,
get shot.
that's-
And it seems like the media is running with it, like saying, "Oh, Ben Carson is judging these people who didn't do this and saying that they are at fault and they, And I didn't hear that from him. I didn't hear him say anyone that didn't do what I'm suggesting is ridiculous and
Right. That's
deserves
exactly
to
how
be
they're
shot.
trying to make it sound.
And that's how they're trying to make it sound.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't think he's wrong. I'm going to follow his advice. If I'm ever in one, I'm coming after you, dude. I'm not going to lay down and get shot.
Well,
I'm
hopefully,
not going to stand up and answer your fucking questions and let you decide whether or not I live or die.
Right.
I'm not going out like
I don't doubt that you would. I also feel that way, but I hope that I would. It's not. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, you're never 100% sure until you're in this situation.
You know what? Though?
Right.
I've been in enough fucking stupid situations to where I know I'm going to do something. I've been in enough shitty situations where I know I'm going to act. I'm not just going to lay down and take it.
So, in response to your question, what's wrong with what he said?
Well, I mean, technically, what's wrong with what he said? I mean,
Right.
I know he's getting bashed for it. Everybody's like, oh. In any case, there's nothing technically wrong with what he said.
Right.
Defend yourself, man. If somebody's attacking you, defend yourself.
Right.
And let me add something, because the reason I even brought this up is because, of course, a meme on Facebook. So there's a meme going around that's a picture of Dave Chappelle in his KKK outfit from that skit, putting his hood on. So you can see his face. He doesn't have it on yet. And it says, Ben Carson getting ready to address his audience.
Right. It's basically like calling him an Uncle Tom.
Calling him an Uncle Tom, saying he's a racist.
Yeah.
Saying, and all this stuff because of the things he has said. Now, if you would say the same thing to maybe Bernie Sanders. Have Bernie Sanders with a big old afro, old afro wig, blackface, and be like, Bernie Sanders getting ready to address his audience. What do you think people would do? You think people would freak out and be like, that's racist? That's fucked up.
I think they would.
Right, yeah, they would.
Yeah, they would.
How is that different than the Ben Carson meme?
Well,
it's not.
Okay, so yeah, Donald, what do you think? What do you feel about that meme and what Mark's saying and Carson in general?
Politics aside,
I actually agree with the meme. I do think he's an Uncle Tom, but at the same time, I'm just keeping it real.
Totally didn't expect you to say that.
But at the same time, I do think I agree with him as far as I would have attacked and not be killed. But I think his Uncle Tom, every time he gets on TV and they ask him about like black issues, he's all, I would have done this and that and blah, blah. I'm like, come on, dude, come on, man.
Right.
Well, I would say he's a sellout. I mean, he came up on all this public assistance. As far as what I've read, he came up on all this public assistance, and then he wants to do away with it all. But you're a product of that.
You're a product of it. But
it
now,
worked for you.
Now that you've gotten up, you don't want anybody else to get up.
Right. Don't follow me.
I'm not going to show you how I did it. I'm just going to berate you because you can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
I cannot stand that.
And seeing how when someone hits him with that specific question, I'm interested to see how he handles that.
So am I.
And let me say that I'm not talking about any of his policies or anything like that. I'm just talking about just the meme.
Yeah.
Just like you look at that picture and you read the words.
Now,
That's
Mark,
all. And if the opposite was true and they had the same kind of meme for a white person and dressed up like that. And what people would say.
Right.
And that's my only, I don't think Ben Carson would be a good president. I think there is a lot of shit that he said, like they've both said, about the public assistance and whatnot. But at the same time, not all black people, just like not all white people, think the same.
Right.
And you don't have to fucking...
They don't all have to be Democrats.
You don't have to toe some party line to not be an Uncle Tom. I understand if someone else might think he's an Uncle Tom because he's not... They don't agree with what he's saying, and he doesn't... He's not trying to represent, blacks in general. Like, he's not...
Yeah.
So
he doesn't...
and I can understand that, why you think he's selling you out or whatever.
So let me...
But it's also based on... Like, you could be white and raised up, I don't know, in the projects.
Yeah.
And think that, like, all whitey's fucked up and is, ruining lots of people's lives. And then, I don't know, is there even a word for... I guess nigger lover or some shit like that, like
a
race
trader,
race trader,
like
something
race
like
trader.
That. Now but Mark, you're 100% right that there's a double standard. There's a double standard there with the meme thing that you said. Yeah. You're right that there is. Now, this is the classic way that a liberal like me responds to the unequivocal fact of a double standard. They say, for example, why you can't. Most white people in most situations can't say the N-word. It's just not okay. But racial slurs against whites are taken far less seriously, like cracker or honky or something. It's just not seen as bad a thing. But this is something you do a lot, Mark, and you take things literally and you cut them away from their connection with the past. And you say, look, double standard. Double standards aren't fair. This is bullshit. But and you're correct when you just separate it like that and look at it as an isolated fact. But when you connect it to history, there's a reason. The racial slur thing that I brought, for example, that those words bring up hundreds of years of memories and familial relations and stuff for Indians or blacks or minorities, whereas and even women, the same thing. Like these words are connected to far deeper historical.
I don't disagree with you, John.
Okay.
And that's not really my point. I'm just bringing up the double standard. But I will say this.
Okay.
So, there is the past. There's history.
Mm-hmm.
Are we trying to live in that, or are we trying to get past it?
And that's something Bryan said.
Just let me finish.
Okay.
So if we're trying to get past it, and I don't have a problem with me saying trying to get past it. I don't have a problem accepting it, accepting responsibility, apologizing for it, paying reparations if that's what's needed. Hey, you know what? Maybe white people should be slaves for 400 years. And then we can fucking, get past it then.
See how they like it.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, but let's fucking try to get past it. Are we trying to, live in this shit and then keep saying, oh, racism sucks and we don't want to do this and blah, blah, blah?
But Bryan...
Keep the thing is it's not even... It's not black people that fucking made that meme, I can guarantee you.
Right.
It's fucking white liberal people.
Probably.
And they don't see their own fucking racism.
Yeah, but okay.
No,
yeah,
that's what it fucking is.
I agree with you that meme is stupid and it's racist. I do agree with you, and they shouldn't have made it. So I'm with you on that. But Bryan, as far as the forgetting the past, with your photographic memory, please recall the quote of the guy who did that presentation on the Indians in the Black Hills, and the quote at the end where he said, the abuse happens and then you get to this point where...
A genocide is complete when you no longer have to get your hands dirty. You can take your hands out of the mix, the people perpetrating it, and use your hands instead to point your finger and say, look what they're doing to themselves.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And can't we get beyond the past? I don't know if that was a part of that quote.
Well, no, it wasn't, but...
Yeah.
Well, I do I'm not criticizing black people in this...
Right.
On this issue.
Yeah, you're criticizing
white people.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying... And the white people, those white people, are pointing their fingers...
Yeah.
At now a black man
and calling him an Uncle Tom. Yeah, and that is bullshit.
Well, and here's the problem that I have with it. I think in a way, Mark's thinking is forward thinking. It's forward thinking.
Right.
Eventually, we have to get to a place of equality where there aren't double standards, and we're not going to get there without thinking forward.
By enforcing double standards.
Or thinking at least. All of us thinking forward to that time when it will be that way. That whole fake it till you make it thing, man. Like, let's start acting that way. If we want to get there, then let's start acting that way.
Now, Donald, on a gut level, how do you feel when a white person says, let's try to get beyond the past, even though they're right. Is there anything in there that's kind of fucked up?
No, because they want to. A lot of people that do say that want to get beyond it without acknowledging the past.
Right. Yeah. They'll use it as an excuse to not.
Let's not talk about this.
Because Mark, on the other hand, said, "Let's do."
Fucked.
Yeah, Mark said, "Let's do these things to help the black community, and let's get past it." And
I'm
we know
gonna
that.
Say that person is one of those people that I'm just sick of lately,
right,
with their hand-me-down politics and their hand-me-down knowledge, and they've never gained any of it for themselves. They don't know. They don't. They're so disconnected from that. They don't have any knowledge of what actually happened, just what people told them. So they're not going to acknowledge it.
It's like the Confederate flag thing. It's like, can we just move on and move forward?
I know you and your friend.
And I'm like, no, you got to know why this was put up and why the fuck we want it down.
And his whole point was, you're erasing history.
Yeah,
Liberals are erasing history.
Yeah, it's like,
he didn't have anything to say about the textbooks in Texas that called slaves workers.
He didn't have anything to say.
Didn't mention the KKK.
I said, this is why it was put up, and he didn't have anything for that.
No.
But anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, they always try to, let's move forward, but let's not remember what happened. It's like, there's a reason why the flag was put up in the first place, and that's why the fuck it needs to come down.
And it wasn't put up during the Civil War.
Right.
It was put up in the 50s.
Put up, for segregation.
Right.
I don't want these people in my area.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put this flag up to let you know I don't want you here.
And the maker of the flag with that lovely quote about the superiority of the white race and how his flag that he made represents that and symbolizes it in every way.
And then people just aren't reading it because they don't want to know about it. It's like, no, let's just move forward.
Yeah.
Let me have my Confederate flag on my truck and let's just move forward.
So you have to look. You can never not look back if you want to move forward because your mistakes are all behind you.
Those who ignore
so you
history
have to find them there.
doomed to repeat it.
But that's what I'm saying about where Mark's. You still have to look back, but you have to think forward.
Yeah.
And Mark's thinking forward and looking back. And
Right.
if you don't know Mark and you don't I would know that without having him to explain that to me. But for listeners, true. The second thing I wanted to add about that meme is that it was white people who brought race back into it. They didn't have to make it. Ben Carson says enough dumb shit that you don't have to bring
race into it.
You don't have to bring race into it. He's shooting holes in his own boat regardless of race. Anybody who says stuff that stupid.
I am shocked by the short-sightedness of his campaign. I look at him and I think this guy could have acknowledged all these black issues, poverty, violence by the police. He could have acknowledged that. And, he wouldn't even have to endorse liberal policies to solve it. He could just say that stuff exists.
These are problems.
And black voters would flock to him. They'd be look, this guy, because a lot of black people have some conservative values mixed in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of religious tradition and everything. And he's very, hardcore Christian. So they would like that. He would get, at least half of the black vote just by acknowledging those things. And he's refused to do that.
But that's why I brought up his experience and anyone's experience in their life.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think he's been connected to the black community, quote unquote, for so long that he was not even thinking about that. You know what I mean? That's not an issue for him personally. So it's not. He doesn't see it.
I think he's a part of a different kind of black community because there's two different ones. I think he's just of the higher money inside,
right,
where he doesn't see what's going on in the inner cities or the ghettos or the place that he may have come from in the past, but now he's so successful he doesn't see it anymore.
Right.
All he sees is to himself that black people can be successful and do this and do that, and get up, but he doesn't remember about the black guy
about those quote unquote entitlements.
Right. It's like exactly. He doesn't remember that.
Yeah.
He's so far beyond it now. He just doesn't remember it.
Right.
So that's where he's at with that. That's how I feel about it.
I feel the same way.
He could be number one in the Republican field right now. I'm telling you, because they desperately need Latino votes and black votes. So 97% of black voters voted for Obama in 2008, and a similar percentage in 2012. I mean, that's across the board. That's insane. That percentage. He could take and he's not even half black. He's fully black guy,
full black man,
and he could have a big portion of that. I mean, a lot of black people are going to vote Democrat no matter what, but a lot of them are going to want to vote for a black guy who's strong, successful, intelligent, and who acknowledges, just barely acknowledges their problem. When he went to speak at this black caucus group where Bernie had spoken, and this other guy too, another Democrat, and Bernie and the other guy got way more applause and support. Ben Carson just went out there and just talked about some other stuff and didn't get into anything about troubles for black people.
He's a scientist who debunks science.
Right. He's a neurosurgeon.
The funniest meme I saw was can join twins, can't separate church and state.
Right.
Just doesn't get it.
So his other controversial comments being that he wouldn't support a Muslim for president, no matter what their policies were. Or
but
who
he supports
they were.
Kim Davis, who puts her religion ahead of her job, just like he's saying that a Muslim would do.
But again,
so that makes total fucking sense.
But again, that's a point that I'm not positive he actually said what the media is reporting. I would have to actually look at the question.
You said it on Fox News.
It was a little trickier than I wouldn't.
No, but it wasn't. It was something about someone who
portion of the Muslim.
No, it was something about an extreme.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No, was it the Shia something Muslim?
No, they put that very, very lightly. They said, would you support a Muslim for president, regardless of policy? Maybe, if you agreed with all their policies, in other words, that's how they framed it. And he was a good person with no criminal, record. And he would say, his answer was no, just based on their religious persuasion, that he wouldn't, because he was afraid they might put Sharia law before.
Sharia law.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because extreme Muslim's so much worse than extreme Christian.
I thought they do the same thing.
Exponentially, man. It's so much worse, dude.
Well, so then I later saw his explanation of that, and he's explained that he was talking about extreme Islam, and he said in the same way that I would not support an extreme Christian president. He said this is what he said,
wouldn't support
and
himself.
I heard it.
Yeah,
he said someone who would put Christianity before.
Oh, he said that?
Yes.
Well, he was backing away at that point.
Yeah,
he was backing away.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But that's all I'm saying is...
I'm surprised that even hurt him among conservatives, that statement. I'm surprised that didn't make... I'm surprised he backed away from it at all. Like, it was a scandal on CNN and stuff, but is that a scandal on Fox News to say I wouldn't vote for a Muslim? Like, isn't that normal for them? Or maybe Republicans are more reasonable than
if we're talking demographics, what do you think I bet you if you divide it racially... There's more black Muslims than there are
white Muslims in America.
There's a lot of black Muslims.
Definitely.
Worldwide, America, I'm sure.
Like on the East Coast.
Just because of the countries that it's prevalent in and the racial demographics of those countries, you're going to have... So what I'll say is not white people.
But then you're going to have to define...
You have to define white.
Black and white because
Middle Eastern people
most Middle Eastern people are not
going
to say that they're black.
In this country,
but
I would say as far as
country,
Americans, you're probably losing more of the black vote by alienating Muslims than you are losing the white vote.
Black Muslims.
Yeah. Now, I remember the great comic, rest in peace, Patrice O'Neill. He was on Opie and Anthony saying that they were like, "You're just voting for Obama because he's black," and he was like, "Goddamn right I am," in his hilarious way. He's like, "Of course I am." He's like, "If it had been a Republican and they were black," he's like, "Of course I'd vote for them." Now, I think there are some black people who would follow that, but I don't think he was really representing the black community when he said that, because I don't think Ben Carson, with his current platform and everything, would get more than 10-15% of the black vote. Although, I don't know, his religious...
because he doesn't
might help him.
This sounds funny, but he doesn't seem to be pro-black.
Right.
Yeah,
you have to. In order for us to come out and vote for you, you have to be like educated, smart. Like you're not going to do anything stupid. That's why people didn't vote for Jesse Jackson when his retarded ass tried to run.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not.
Or
finna
Alan
do it.
Keyes.
You up here rhyming and shit. I don't want to do it.
Alan Keyes, who was this...
As long as you're not going to vote for Kanye?
Fuck no.
2020, man.
I voted for Alan Keyes, a black man, in 2000 in the Bush-Gore election. And he was a hardcore Republican, because that's what I was. Hardcore, and a Christian fundamentalist, because that's what I was. And he was... I mean, that dude is so smart. Now, he's got more than a little bit of completely insane in there, but he's like... a brilliant orator. Like, he can speak like a literary form. And but he has a really high pitched voice. And he's kind of awkward and effeminate too. But he got arrested because they wouldn't let him into the Republican debate, and he was just like forcing himself through the door. Like, I'm going on the stage now. Give me a mic, and they arrested him for that. Yeah. But he's like a creationist and everything. So. That like you were saying, Donald, that didn't get him. The black community wasn't behind him
like,
just because he was black.
Yeah, we don't do because. But like, I voted for Obama because he looked smart, he looked educated, he wasn't going to do anything crazy.
Ran a good campaign.
This is a good representative, right?
Yeah. Excellent
right.
liar, like did it with his
well, of course, like he's like, hey, come with me.
Sold that
Smooth,
shit as hope,
help. Hey, come with me.
Yes,
hey.
we can.
Yes, we can.
Continue Bush's policies.
And then I didn't vote. Well, I didn't vote for anybody.
In 12.
In 12 because I knew Obama was going to win it hands down because Romney kept shooting himself in the foot.
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to and then Obama's an icon at this point.
Well, I mean, and I just got to say, this may sound shallow, but do we want a president named Mitt? I just wouldn't want a president named Mitt. It doesn't sound very. Mitt. It's just not working for me. I'm sorry, Mitt. I didn't want you.
But that's kind of why I would want President Kanye. that and then we'd have a first lady that had a porn video.
Right.
Yes.
Then what?
Fantastic ass.
Italy had that for a while, right? Wasn't there a prime minister like did?
Oh, that's normal in Italy.
Like Italy, everybody.
If you don't have a porn video, you're not getting it.
You need to get one before you.
Yeah, kids watch their grandmother's porn videos in Italy. That's how it goes. It's cultural. Don't hate.
Then why aren't you a Trump fan, Mark? If you just want to vote for the...
Oh, I am a Trump fan.
Oh, okay.
I think he's an idiot.
That's why you're a fan.
No, yeah.
But Mark thinks everybody's an idiot.
Because he's basically making a mockery of the fucking political
he is.
whole thing. So
it's looking more and more like he actually is like... It's an inside job to screw the Republicans. It really kind of looks that way. Like he's doing it intentionally.
Well, the funny thing is, though, is I don't think they needed much help.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's a clown car. And it opens up and Republican candidates fall out and run up to their podium.
Once these two guys are gone and Rubio ascends, he'll be a very strong candidate. He'll be one of the youngest presidents in history.
Except for I don't think that's going to happen simply because of the Republican base, how they are. And this is because of what the Republicans have run on for the past 30 years, if not longer. And Fox News and other Republicans love to criticize Trump and say he's not a real Republican and basically say he's a clown and he's making a mockery of all this stuff. But the reason he's popular is because the Republicans, the people in the country, love his ideas and love him. And the reason is because
they don't love his ideas, though. They don't love his ideas. They love his party.
They love a lot of his ideas. The Republican Party has created that monster.
Right.
They made that audience.
Yeah. All the paranoid beliefs about immigrants.
And so it's funny to me when now they are pissed off about it and whining about it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what you fucking wanted. You wanted those people voting for you and thinking that way.
Yeah. I mean, liberals have been criticizing Fox News forever for being like anti-intellectual, and they won a lawsuit that made them allowed to say things that aren't factually true on the show and everything. Right. And they
fought for that, right?
Of course, they would have been hampered terribly if they had lost that case. They would have had to fact check
the world's leading news agency fought for the right to be able to deceive the public.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm just a stupid liberal. I'm just a partisan liberal. So if I think that Fox News is less intellectual and less fact-based than the other ones, that's expected from me. So I don't know how I can prove that or if you guys agree
Hannity,
with that. But
like when I watch little bits of Hannity, and he'll cut stuff up that Obama says and then put it together.
Yeah. Totally out of context.
Look what he said.
Yeah.
You see that go both ways, though.
Yeah,
it is. I don't watch MSNBC either because they do the same shit. But still, I mean, it's not actually a news network.
I know my military friends used to, like, when they were talking about CNN being so liberal, it was the communist news network.
Or the Clinton news network. My parents said that in the 90s. I remember my mom saying that with a
Yeah,
look
like
of disgust.
there's two ways to really get my parents to go nuclear. It's like lighting a fucking fuse.
Say Hillary or Obama?
Obama or Clinton. Clinton will get my dad really going.
Yeah.
And then if you add Obama, it's just like it's nuclear fusion, and then you just have to deal with the reaction.
Yeah. The fallout.
Yeah, and they hate that we liked Clinton. Billy and I we were Billy fans.
Yeah.
I was a fan of old Bill.
Bill's the man. He's playing jazz and getting his dick sucked in the Oval Office. Come on,
Yeah.
what can you not like
I
about
gotta
the
go
guy?
back to that. Like, if the most powerful man in the world can't get a blowjob,
Yeah, from an intern.
We should just blow the fucking world
You know what
up.
I'm saying? I mean, come on.
There's no point. You have to you gotta have fun. All work and no play.
Get a
makes
man,
Bill
a
dull
break.
boy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and
Still, it does show a lack of judgment. But
It does.
Well,
but
he
I
could have
mean-
got a prettier intern. So that
Ouch.
he could have got a little better.
what
looking
what
intern.
I'll never understand is why, when he did get accused of that, he didn't just say, "Well, yeah, it happened, but she didn't inhale."
Oh man. He could have just said, "Man, look, seriously, dude, Hillary. Like, come
Yeah.
on, man, give me a break."
she wasn't that bad looking
wasn't
in
that
the
bad looking.
80s.
He was just lying because he's like, damn, when she finds out, god damn,
I just think
I got to pay all this alimony.
when I look at Hillary and I think about qualities that we've talked about are feminine, and I'm like, I look at her and I'm like, nurturing, empathic, kind.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, a
I
blowjob
just
from
don't-
her is just her touching the tip of her tongue to the head of your dick,
Okay.
and then punching you in the balls.
Yeah.
and then
He's like, really? No.
punching,
No.
And asking for your vote.
Yeah.
demanding it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't.
Well, my mom
I think of
hypothesized that her whole campaign is a psych. My mom's a psychologist. Her whole campaign is a psychological projection of her unhappiness with her marriage, which I think feminists might have a problem with that interpretation. And she thinks that Hillary's unlikable nature is going to be her downfall, and that's why she bet me $100 that she wouldn't even be the Democratic nominee.
I can't argue with her about her unlikable nature.
Oh, for sure.
The other
It's not going to help her.
No.
But on the other hand, voters, when they do vote for a woman, they have a lot of sexist baggage, and they want to know that the woman is kind of masculine. They want to know that they're able to handle the pressure and war. And
remember how much the conservatives loved Margaret Thatcher?
Exactly.
They're like, ugh.
Because she'll bomb you just for looking at her wrong.
Haggy Maggie.
She'll
go
start
get
a
'em.
war just for fun.
Yeah.
mean,
Falklands, blow up Argentina.
Yeah.
We won our colonies.
So moving on, I got a phone call the other night from our good buddy Sean Gorman, and first he was telling me how happy he and his wife are about their little 16-month-old girl, nice. And they had been trying for 10 years to have a little girl, and they wanted one so bad that they had like a picture of a girl, a little baby girl or something on their wall to sort of like give them the energy and the sort of the good vibes. And then finally it came true, and he was telling me how happy he is. I mean, he was over the moon, and it was just kind of touching how happy he was about his little girl and everything. So congratulations to him on that. And I was kind of moved by that. And then he called because they have like YouTube videos for babies, educational things where they show you shapes and colors and numbers and stuff. So there's one called Bob the Train, and it's this, I guess it's for babies because it's really just horrible to listen to it. I feel sorry for the parents. It's like, I'm Bob. This is a circle. And then the circle dances around and stuff. But he was overhearing it. And so it goes circle, it goes square, it does a couple other of these very basic things. And then it goes, and I looked it up and watched it because he sent me the link. It goes, this, after square, it goes, this is a tank. And a full animated military tank with a cannon drives up. And it goes, Mr. Tank protects our borders and keeps our freedom. And Sean was like, first of all, there are no tanks on the borders. Like, that's not even factually true that tanks protect our borders. Like,
maybe it was a video from Russia.
No, it's American, man.
Yeah. From Uber American Films? Was it Uber American?
This is a tank.
Yeah. I protect our borders.
Right after square. Well, ST, dude.
Yeah,
ST.
okay.
All right. Why not triangle? I don't know. Because tank Tank is actually before. Maybe they were going to go to Triangle next.
Right,
I don't know.
Right.
Tank's a very complex shape, though.
Yes, it is. A complex concept, especially our borders.
They protect our borders.
And then the next one was Mr. Ambulance. So they just gave up the whole alphabet thing. And they
After the tank protects our borders, the ambulance picks up the pieces.
That's what it was. He goes, "Why are you so tired, Mr. Ambulance?" And he goes, "'Cause I'm constantly transporting our injured troops."
Oh no!
This is a joke.
This is 100% real, legitimate, and as I'm describing
satire.
it's not.
I'm not saying it's not how you describe it.
No,
but
it's
I'm
not
saying
satire.
someone made it and posted it.
It has
It's a
28
joke.
million views. It's an hour-long children's
is
video,
28 million?
and this is 2 minutes in the middle of it, Mark. There's not other funny things or weird satire. It's not satirical. I'm telling you right now. And
This is a gun.
Hundreds of different videos, and I don't. Most of them don't have content like this, as far as I know.
And they're all Bob the Train.
Yeah.
Lord have
And were they
mercy.
uploaded by the same person?
Yeah, the company that makes Bob
No,
the
but
Train.
you have to look at the uploader and make sure that it's the same as all the other Bob the Train uploaders. Because
it's not satire,
there's-
Mark. They would not
I'm
make
just
an
telling you,
hour-long video for kids.
Someone
and
could
2 minutes
easily,
in the middle
Someone
was
could
about.
easily take an hour-long video and edit it and put those 2 minutes
Splice
in
them
there.
in.
Okay.
And then post it on YouTube and pretend it's the same thing.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm not going to accept it as like some
This
real.
is genocide.
Well, you
this
look-
is actually like something you can go
Genocide.
buy.
Watch what
Right.
She
Watch
is
what
an
she can
adult
do.
film star.
Yeah. Watch what
I'm sarin gas.
This is what she can do with a cucumber.
Seriously, man. So anyway, if it is real though, it's kind of weird. Like it's
Oh,
not
it's
the worst
definitely-
thing
yeah.
in the world, I guess. Like you do want to, but it is propaganda. You know, it is that. So that's bizarre, man.
But do you think there's hasn't been propaganda in children's stuff before?
Oh, totally. And I was mentioning that to him. I was like, well, at least we're happy we didn't grow up in the 50s where you watch those newsreels in school like every day, and they were just telling you like communists are evil and they'll kill your mom, and like Russians are bad people. You know, that was everywhere in the 50s.
Right.
So we're lucky we don't live there. And on the other hand, there's liberal sort of propaganda in a way. Like, but all these Disney movies, this is a thing I've been thinking about for a long time. When you watch a Disney movie and you think about what the moral story is, it's almost always something about like diversity or like, loving someone for who they are, or the outcast being, the good person and the popular people being bad. And I've wondered for a long time, why that appeals, is why that constant moral message is being shown in these movies. And on one hand, it seems like a really good thing. Like, of all moral messages to send, those are pretty damn good. But on the other hand, it's like, why do so many people relate to a story about an outcast? Because statistically, we can't all be outcasts. There have to be a small percentage of people who really were outcasts in high school and stuff. But my friend Ryan said, I guess he said, everyone kind of feels like they are, even if they're popular. Everyone feels like an outcast, which I hadn't realized because I was an outcast by anyone's definition.
No,
I
right.
was tortured almost. Not quite. It's too strong a word, but my life was not happy from 7th through 10th grade, and it was just constant,
Right.
bad stuff.
No,
but I guess the popular kids weren't having a good time either.
No, that reminds me of
probably better than you.
Yeah.
when I was
A little
when I was a senior in high school, I was at some fucking bonfire party, whatever, and one of the fucking other kids that was in my grade, who was like quarterback on the football team,
Right.
blah blah, all this shit. He got fucking wasted,
Uh-huh.
and he was talking to me. He starts fucking crying about
How he treated you?
No,
Oh.
not how he treated
Go
me.
ahead.
Because I was an outcast, but I was kind of like a self.
Yeah.
I exiled
It was
myself. I was just
self-imposed.
Sounds
I choose
about right.
exile.
but no, this kid was crying to me about how his dad is the one who pushed him to do all this shit, and he didn't want to do it. He
Had
didn't
Breakfast
like
Club
fucking-
come out yet?
I don't. I
Because
think
that's-
it had.
I've
I
been
think it
thinking
had.
about it the whole time.
Yeah.
But no, and that's what I thought. I was like, "What the? Is you putting me on? What the?" And he was like, "No, serious." Like, he wanted to do like art and shit and fucking hated sports.
Really?
Yeah. So in that way,
he was arts and crafts Tony Romo.
Right. Yeah. So in that way, I guess he was an outcast from his family.
Yeah. So yeah, he felt
like you said,
isolated, and he was hanging out with a milieu that wasn't who he really wanted to be with.
Right.
There's all these other sports kids and everything.
I know. Imagine how many kids, like, if you just look at numbers, how many kids coming up during our generation in particular were probably gay and couldn't come out. Like in high school now, a lot of places, not everywhere. You people get hazed, people are fucked up, but a lot of places you can come out and be openly gay in high school.
It's a little better.
Shit, I don't think it would have flown in my day.
No.
Like you wouldn't have been able to do it and be comfortable in high school.
There were some flamboyant kids,
you kind of thought
males
but
that were but they weren't openly gay.
No, and we saw a few girls where we're like, I think she's playing for the other team, like for real. She's not just playing soccer with the fellas, like she's playing for the other team.
Yeah, and it was the source of so much abuse because that's what was coming my way. It was all fag this and fag that. I mean, they couldn't think of anything else. There was no basis for it. I mean, no one knew anything about my sexuality, and I didn't talk, I didn't speak at all. So it was that's just the stock insult. It was just fag.
Fag's just one of those terms that can get a dude to fight if he's prone to it.
Yeah,
like it'll make you fight. It kind of get substituted for the word sissy too. Like if you don't know about a guy's orientation, you just call him a fag. And, I was guilty of that too. I tried to stop doing that like the last 10 years. Like I just call you a sissy if you're a sissy.
Right.
I'll just call you a girl.
That's not politically correct. Button. All right. We'll splice this together. Don't know how much got lost. So Syria, ideology is apparent whenever anyone says, this is actually simple. And usually this comes in anti-Obama terms right now. He's an idiot. He's screwing it up because he is screwing it up in Syria. But it's not true that it's actually really simple. All you do is such and such. So, but it can be explained fairly simply. There's a bunch of groups in there, and there's different big, powerful nations supporting different groups. So that's how it comes down. Let's just throw this down here. You have the Free Syrian Army, FSA. This is they're mostly ex-military forces and Sunni Muslims. They're a non-religious, a secular group, and they're rebels fighting the government in Syria.
And this is our dog in the fight, right?
This is our dog, exactly. So Free Syrian Army is fighting the president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad, and they want to kill him and take over the government and have a democratic state. We are giving them non-military aid right now in terms of food, money, and other crap. And we've been doing that for a while. Next, you have the Al-Nusra Front. Now, this is a radical Muslim group affiliated with Al-Qaeda. And they are also fighting President Assad. And they're fighting with the Free Syrian Army a lot sometimes. But there have been clashes between these groups where they've killed each other because one is a radical Muslim group, one is a secular group. And you have the government itself. President Assad, he's trying to suppress the opposition. He controls about 1/5 of his country right now. Damascus is the capital, and that's where his stronghold is. Most of the rest of the country is occupied by other groups. So Assad is trying to suppress this opposition and maintain control, and he used sarin gas, we're pretty sure, on thousands of his own people. There were 450 children among those killed. It's an invisible, horrible neurotoxin, and he did that last year, and that's
made out of sarin wrap.
And that's a sarin wrap. And that's what spurred Obama to want to bomb him and get him out of government because he broke, international rules and used gas on civilians. Russia and Iran are supporting President Assad, the government. We are supporting that Free Syrian Army. And then you got Hezbollah, a Lebanese military Muslim group that is also fighting Assad. And that's about it. Saudi Arabia, by the way, interestingly, has the third biggest defense budget in the world. Saudi Arabia. They're pumping more money in than every other country except for us, and probably China. So,
and yet they don't send their armies anywhere.
Not sending anyone to do shit, and they're right there in the region. Now this is
where we're their big dog. They send us.
Oh yeah. It's ridiculous. I mean, we're not.
We're their stick. They just put their foot in our oil hole.
And the reason they're not doing more, I think, has to do with the fact that they're the ones. Oh, that doesn't make sense. Forget that. That was wrong. Saudi Arabia, though, exports this Wahhabist Islam to the rest of the world. They build the schools, and that's the literal interpretation of the Quran that motivates ISIS and groups like that.
Isn't ISIS in Syria?
That's
too,
the Westboro Baptist Church.
ISIS,
yeah, ISIS
it is.
It's in Syria too. Yeah,
ISIS is also in Syria. Now, ISIS is fighting President Assad. They want to take over the world.
And probably everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Russia has joined the game. And they are now providing heavy, heavy support through battleships and Air Force.
And special forces on the ground.
And this is, no one knows, but they're volunteers, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Russians in there.
more volunteers.
Yeah.
More Russian volunteers.
Backing
again.
Assad and fighting his opposition. He was stalemated for months. Now that Russia's in the game, the Syrian army of the government is pushing
I read
forward.
something about the Russians had 64 airstrikes over the weekend.
Yes, that's true. Now,
just this weekend.
here's the thing, though. They can't even say it like it is. Russia says we're bombing ISIS, and they haven't hit an ISIS target yet.
No.
I mean, they just keep saying it, though. They're like, yep, we're here to stop ISIS. They haven't hit a single dude. They're just hitting the rebels. So now we've got a really touchy situation of a proxy war where Russia is funding the government, the Syrian government, and we are funding the opposition. And that means when those things come into conflict, that's a proxy war. That's Russia versus the U.S. in everything except actual soldiers fighting each other. So that's what's going on over there, and that's why it's so touchy. You don't want to go to war with Russia. We've played these games with them a lot in the Cold War, but this is the first time it's happened in a long time.
Do you mean you don't want to go to war in a proxy war or in a real war?
At all, either, especially a real war. Who wants to go to war with the second most heavily nuclear-armed country in the world?
But the one thing that always surprised me
if your culture's war, let's get them out of the way.
Stuff like that is we seem to forget Vietnam. Like,
go ahead.
Well, everyone basically is trying to say that we need to send troops over there to influence us getting what we want in that country or whatever.
To stop communism from taking over.
But why don't we do in Syria the same shit that Russia did in Vietnam? Instead of sending troops, just send supplies.
That's what we're doing.
No, I know.
But we're also leading an air coalition where our guys are there. But if a Russian missile shoots down one of our planes by mistake and an American pilot's in there, that's not good.
Well, again, so I said, I don't think there were any Russian planes flying over Vietnam. I'm not
sure.
Positive.
Or you mean Syria?
I don't know. Over Vietnam.
I'll say this.
Well, the Chinese were the ones backing the North.
Well, the Russians were too, because the North were communist, and the Russians were all about the spread of communism. But all those dudes, all those different factions, throwing lead and ordnance in all those directions, sooner or later, somebody's going to shoot the wrong thing. Somebody,
yeah.
And this shit's gonna escalate. We're going to be sitting there like a Will Ferrell line, like, well, that escalated quickly.
Well, what would your guys' reaction be if a Russian missile shot down a U.S. whatever and an American pilot died or got captured? Would the right wing would be pressuring Obama to go to war with Russia? What would you guys think?
Well, it's time to gun up. Let's go.
Oh snap!
Yeah, I don't.
There's no excuse for you not to do anything. You can't sit up there and say, "Well, no, I don't want to hear." No, we gun up, open everything up. Let's go.
It's an act of war.
Let's just get it. I'm tired of this shit. I'm done with it. Let's go. They shot down one of us. They knew who we were.
They knew we were there.
They knew we were there. We knew. They know what our planes look like. They shot them down. They either killed them or captured them. We need to go get them and handle that business. Done deal. Because if we don't, they're just going to shoot down more planes. Well, they didn't do nothing when we shot this guy down, so we're just going to shoot the rest of them.
Good thing it hasn't happened yet.
And that's why I would not even be in the country to begin with.
Yeah,
except for as giving them supplies.
Yeah,
That's all.
How are we getting our supplies there?
No.
Like we got dudes in planes dropping those things off, and if they fucking shoot one of them
down,
that
wouldn't be an F-15 like John said.
No, that'd be even worse.
Plane.
They're shooting down what we would call humanitarian aid with our military guys.
Right.
Like, that would piss people off even more.
But Mark's plan would make the risk lower.
Oh yeah,
than having military.
I think that's why we're where we're at, because we know that the fucking Russians aren't playing.
Or the other thing is not even give them supplies. Just retreat completely. Don't fucking do anything, and let's see what happens.
And that's how we turned
for
Ho
the
Chi Minh
fucking
against
dust to
us in
settle.
Vietnam. That's how we turned Ho Chi Minh in against us. We had him set up to
we turned Ho Chi Minh
and then we
against
left
us.
him. We left him hanging.
But that's fodder for the conservatives. They're already criticizing Obama because he's not aggressive enough in the Middle East. That's their whole criticism. Whereas his whole thing has been to use diplomatic solutions, which I really like that idea.
Right. Are we
but
talking
if
about?
he backs out, that's just.
Are we
he's not
about,
running for re-election, but still, that's what the Republicans want. They want Obama to go away because Russia showed up, and then be like, "See, we're pussies. We're leading from behind."
What conservatives are we talking about? Like the dark forces behind war, or their
the
minions that are
and all of them.
their grassroots minions that are hypnotized by the lights of the war machine?
All of them. The rhythm of the war drums. March to the beat.
Counting sheep.
Guess what Bernie Sanders' policy on this is? He says, pressure with every means in your ability Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and all these other countries to send their massive, developed, awesome armies, get their troops on the ground, and make them, in any way you can, go into Syria and take down Assad and ISIS. Especially ISIS.
So Bernie's idea is to start World War III.
No, not us. Not us. He's telling those
guys.
Why would
That's fucking World War III.
Eventually, we'll have to.
That's Saudi Arabia and Turkey, two fucking major players going up against Russia and Syria, and fucking. But at least it's not Americans marching into Muslim countries.
And why would Saudi Arabia take out a group that they helped create?
Well, ISIS carries out terrorist attacks in Saudi Arabia.
I don't think they have any fans, ISIS, except for weirdos that
they're not allies in any way. I mean, officially, especially, Saudi Arabia is declared them to be.
But they believe in the same religion, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they have the same religious beliefs.
Pretty close. Yeah, they do.
So why?
Yeah, why
Saudi
would they
Arabia
do that?
is carrying
that's
out
why
near
I don't
as many
think
public executions as ISIS is. They're close, right?
Yeah, it's just cleaner and more official.
Right.
Yeah,
it's government sanctioned, and we're like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
don't worry about it. It's cool.
Well,
we got it.
Saudi Arabia doesn't take a video of it and post it to YouTube.
Right. Well, yeah, but someone takes a video.
Someone takes videos. Yeah.
Of what? Of Saudi Arabia's executions?
Yeah, they're public.
You can find them on Lively. Just go type it in.
From ISIS, yes, but from Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, you can find
they're public executions.
Public executions.
Yeah, they're
town square.
They're going to crucify that kid.
Yeah.
They're still set to crucify and behead that kid.
Well, I've seen them beheading women for adultery
or
even just being accused of adultery.
That's the whole point of their policy, is to make it public, so it's intimidating.
Yeah. No, right,
so
but it's not.
Don't do it.
But I guess my point was, it's not the Saudi Arabian government taking a video and posting it online, right?
No. And being like, look at us. Like,
but I'll tell you what, it don't make the dude who got crucified any less fucking dead. He's still just as dead, whether they filmed it or not.
But, those countries are already funding the attacks on ISIS. They're already in our coalition, and they throw a plane in now and then. So you make a good point that Sanders is advocating something that might be a trigger to a larger conflict. But I think he thinks that the power of those armies could crush ISIS.
Well,
I think he thinks
could.
Yeah. So that's
you put many boots and tanks on the ground.
That's
done.
one problem that I have with Sanders, and one thing that I think most people don't realize or don't want to look at or whatever. He is an imperialist, and he is for war. He supported Clinton going into Kosovo. He supported, he's supported plenty of military operations where we went.
He's not a pacifist.
We went into Kosovo to stop a genocide, though. We went in there to put the wheels to the stop on the.
Mark,
on the
are you just totally non-interventionist?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if that has
protect our country. That's it. Anybody that's a threat to us, our country, not policy, not
what,
but
though?
to our country, then take them out.
What about our allies?
Well, let me equate
we no
that.
longer
Fuck our
defend
allies.
allies.
Fuck our allies. We've been the policemen for the fucking world for the past 50, 60 years.
Right.
Fuck our allies. Our allies can get along without us for a while.
But then,
maybe they can start fucking helping us.
But then you
supporting
let our,
us.
Then you let our genuine enemies gain a lot of ground.
I don't give a fuck.
Well, here's what I'll compare it to. I to a certain degree, I agree with Mark.
Right.
But I'll also compare it to the way the U.S. men's national team plays their annoying fucking brand of soccer. Jesus Christ, they get on my goddamn nerves. When you tuck back in and just try to defend your goal, you eventually give up a rash of goals because you allow them to get too close.
Take more shots.
You allow them to get too close to your doorstep, and they can pick you apart from right outside your yard.
That's the thing, Mark. I think if you approached almost anyone,
No, the thing is that
there's an intuitive appeal to your
approach. In war, you can die. In war, your countrymen can die. In soccer,
Oh, it was an analogy.
Unless you're Mexico or Guatemala or some country like that, where then you go home and they fucking kill you in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm going to equate. I'm going to equate. I'm just equating the strategy for success. In a game of strategy.
It's an
analogy. I don't think it's a good analogy.
And most games are based on fucking war, bro.
Yeah.
Most games are based on war.
Territory.
Yeah. Claiming territory, advancing, getting to the other team's goal, hitting the home run. It's so they do compare. There's a difference in scale.
Baseball, not so much, but
there's
other
a difference
sports,
in scale.
Any field sport where there's two
where
goals,
there's two teams working against each other,
2 goals,
2 goals. Yeah, that's based on war.
Yeah,
curling,
and those were designed to train men for war.
Absolutely,
sport was initially why it was designed.
Ancient Greece, that whole gymnasium
designed to train men for war.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
I agree with pulling back. We don't have to be the world's police. I think it's a shitty idea, and I'm totally with Mark on the fact that you guys need to pull your own fucking weight. I'm sick of all our allies picking fights when they know that we're standing behind them with the big stick.
Yeah.
No, man, if you started the fight, you fucking go ahead and finish it, buddy.
See, it's tricky. If they put boots on the ground like Saudi Arabia and went in with the express aim of destroying ISIS and maybe not overthrowing the Syrian government, then maybe they could avoid going to war with Russia.
You're sending troops into what would be considered a sovereign nation, though. So how's Assad going to feel about a bunch of Turks?
Well, there's nothing he can do.
Look,
that's already happening. Though.
Remember last week when we were talking about mass shootings and stuff, and what would maybe be a possible solution, what we should do and focus our attention on? And
the 4-pronged or 5-pronged.
Okay. Well, how is that different with the rest of the world? How are you going to ever, no matter who it is, wipe out an ideology or a group of people that hate you with violence? You know, if we focused on quit fucking with other countries and the way they're going to run their government, maybe if we focused on poverty across the world and hunger, and elevating that and making that so people aren't fucking starving and pissed off and in miserable condition to where they join shit like that because they were told America is making their fucking life.
But that's what we're doing when we give aid to rebel groups
and
dictatorships.
What we're doing is we're continuing the conflict. We're adding to the fight. There's 2 people fighting. We're coming along and kicking one of them in the ass once in a while. Maybe we're kicking both of them in the ass once in a while. Because that's what it seems like we do. We don't know who the fuck to support. Yeah. And we just like to come around and join in once in a while and throw a couple punches.
Well, I feel what you're saying because if we pulled out,
that's what it's like.
Run
in and sock somebody in the ribs and then get out.
What I want, and this isn't exactly pacifist, but I want us to pull out of there so that Russia becomes the occupying country that all the Muslims hate. I want all the Muslims to hate Russia instead of us.
I completely agree with you, and that's why I was bringing up Vietnam.
Yeah. Let them hate Russia, like in Afghanistan.
Let Syria become Russia's Vietnam.
Well, and I'll tell you what the problem was with a lot of conflicts, especially like this. Is these aren't like World War II, where you're just, hey, we're in with both feet, we're going to war, we're mass troop mobilizations, we are going to
all the players are nations,
Europe, right?
All the players are sovereign nations,
and everybody was pretty much like lines were drawn, sides were there. That's not real clear anymore. Yeah. And in World War II, we had an exit strategy. We're like, if we accomplish these objectives, the fucking war's over.
Get Berlin, get Tokyo.
Right.
That's
get
it.
these people out of power, and the war's over. There's no clear objective in any of these. There's no exit strategy. We're guilty of the same thing that I heard all my dad and his buddies talking about during the 80s. The Russians are fucking stupid. They're going to occupy Afghanistan. Them people have been fighting for thousands of years. There's no way to stop them.
Jimmy
They're going to
Carter
fight you forever.
did that on purpose.
And then we do the same thing. Now we're over there occupying
because it seems
them.
if we do have an exit strategy, we're like pussies. Like we can't get out of there.
You can blame that on the liberals.
Right, yeah, he's like, we can't get out of there.
Blame that on the conservatives.
I'm just like, how come we can't? How come we can't just get rid of...
We just pointed blame in two directions. Now nobody gets it.
I'm just like, how come we can't get Saddam Hussein, right, and then just leave? And they were like, well, we can't do that. Why not? He's dead. We killed him. He's gone.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Do we even really have to go there, though? We could have done that with a drone, right?
Yes.
No, you send in a fucking a special ops team and you fucking do whatever you want to do. I mean, if we're going to talk about reality... And if
why not just send a drone? Then
just send a drone.
It's not that easy though for either of those options. They've been trying to assassinate al-Baghdadi, the proclaimed caliph of the entire Muslim world, who's the head of ISIS. They tried to get him a couple days ago. They took out a meeting of 8 ISIS leaders. Praise Allah. And Baghdadi was on his way there.
You're supposed to say Aloha Snack Bar.
Baghdadi was on his way there, and they tried to get him, and he got away. It's not. I get what you're saying, that they should try to, I guess, assassinate these leaders. That was once very controversial, but
I'm just saying.
Well, you know what though?
It's not
if you're doing it Beef's way, right? We're not already occupying their country, so they're not like totally expecting it.
Yeah,
the guys are not always like dipping and diving and dodging.
But those
and
dictators
ducking.
are very paranoid.
Yeah, the 5 Ds of dodging assassination.
They're smoking meth all day long and wondering about when America's going to come to get them, dude.
Because of our policy, because of what we've been doing.
We should make a meth name of al-Baghdadi now.
Vietnam, Vietnam right now. If you're an American and you want to go travel to Vietnam and be a tourist there, what do you think it's like? You think you're hated? Think people scream at you in the streets?
No.
Why is that? Because we got out of there and left them alone. Same thing with fucking Iran until recently. Iran, after we fucking withdrew in 1980 and we were like, fuck you guys, whatever, you got it. We're not dealing with you anymore. For the 20 years after that, eventually it was like, they
became a developed nation,
and then they were like, "Oh no, Americans come over, whatever." And there's still religious factions that wouldn't like you. And
they still say "Death to America," but
but
and they did give us K1.
They don't mean it as much.
But I mean, Vietnam, go over there as a tourist and you're fine.
Yeah,
and it's because we have left them the fuck alone.
Right.
He tells me to mention him on the show as often as I can.
There it is.
I got him. I got you in there, brother. I know you don't listen. Bum.
Yeah, I guess so many of these things are little Vietnams, and it's like, why haven't we learned our lesson? But
because we don't.
Because we want to be empire. We're still maintaining and building our empire. Has nothing to do with our country, because we aren't a country. We are an empire.
Yeah. But if you let China expand unchecked, man, and Russia too,
maybe China is meant to be the next empire.
Well, nobody's going to just accept that they become the world leader and we drop into second. Who wants that? Because it's an economic fight now, and if you let them keep expanding their economic hold on other countries,
are the people in Italy wandering in the streets, starving, eating dogs?
No, those are the people of Michigan.
Right. No, what I'm saying is, so after the Roman Empire fell,
Flint, man.
Did everyone in Italy, was it like apocalypse? Was it like a wasteland?
No.
So why are we so afraid of America not being the goddamn empire anymore?
Well, actually, it led to the Dark Ages, where literacy and life expectancy dropped precipitously for 500 years. So maybe your theory has a flaw there.
Except for in Italy, was it the Dark Ages?
Yeah.
Wasn't Italy where we got all the, Michelangelo and fucking Galileo?
That was 1,500 years later.
Yeah, it was
after the Dark Ages?
Yeah,
after the fall of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
But when did the Dark Ages happen?
After the fall of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
And then the
right after? 2 years later?
Well, not. I mean, historically, though, when you're talking about historical
took a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it took hundreds of years
because
for Rome
they were
to fall,
trying to maintain.
And then
over the
next 100 years, it kind of
Rome until finally they
got
ran out.
They got Attila.
They overextended themselves.
Right.
Yeah. And there was political strife. And
now, what if
invading?
If the Roman Empire, while they were still the empire, had brought all their troops back into their country, just maintained their country? What would have happened?
Who knows?
Who knows, right? But we're not going to go down that path of who knows, because we'd rather go down the path that we do know.
Leads to despair and death.
Mark, we're on the path of ride it till the wheels fall off. That's
Like
the
they used to
road
say,
we're on.
yeah.
We're like, no, the what if exit's not going to work for us. We know where we're headed here. Yes,
And
the
this
wheels are
exit,
coming
we're gonna
off, but
come
at
right up in
least
here.
we know where we're going.
Because you got people like Donald who are ready to go to war with Russia.
Absolutely.
At the drop of a hat.
You bang one of my people, I'm coming to get you. I'm sorry. You shoot down one of my planes,
Yeah.
we gonna have at it. I'm sorry.
I wonder what's going to happen, because something's eventually going to happen. Didn't the Russians already shoot missiles into Iran by accident?
Yeah, that's their ally. But yeah, the missiles dropped in there, and they were firing missiles. Someone wrote an article. They're like, this is now basically just Russia showing off. You don't fire missiles from 1,000 miles away unless you just are itching to use some of these awesome missiles. They were firing missiles from 1,000 miles, and 4 or 5 of them just dropped into Iran. I don't
That's
think
how we
Wait a
roll.
minute.
Our shit just generally hits what we want it to.
Wait a
Cruise
minute,
missile.
Russia showing off, though? You're trying to tell me that a country that's led by Putin is going to try to show off?
No, you're right. That's insane. He rides a horse bare-chested.
Yeah.
And
Kills a fucking tiger with his bare hands.
yeah, with his judo.
Swims in some ice pond.
Yeah.
I am all that is man.
While Obama struggles curling some tens.
And they're struggling,
He's doing-
sweating.
Obama's doing cardio kickboxing.
Yeah.
Tybo.
Yeah.
I'm sitting over there scratching my forehead like,
His wife's boxing workout's tougher than his.
Oh,
man.
I'm just like, jeez, man.
He needs Billy Banks.
Something.
So Bernie came to Tucson this weekend. And,
Tucson felt the
crickets.
burn.
Yeah.
Crickets.
Crickets.
Media crickets.
They were
At
expecting
the table, after you just said that, there wasn't a whole big...
all my nerve endings beef. I got to tell you, I felt the burn so much. All my nerve endings are gone. I'm numb to the burn now.
It was 7,000 people were expected to attend.
Crickets.
11,000 showed up.
John counted all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Jeb Bush is meeting 20 people at a firehouse.
In the back of some alley somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding
And
about that. That's
they
a
only,
real,
they only showed up for the free pancakes.
Yeah, well, and he had to promise a couple of them handies from his interns.
yeah,
So it's like,
yeah.
it would have only been 18 otherwise.
Oh, my God.
I mean, it's insane.
Stuff happens, man.
That's a real thing too. That firehouse, and,
Yeah.
and that's
Well, I told you about Vegas, right?
yeah,
20 solid votes, though, John.
yeah. And then you still have most pundits saying Jeb Bush, the presumptive nominee for the Republican Party,
And they're
You
still
said
saying
pretty
Hillary's the
presumptive.
is in
nominee
6th
for...
place.
Yeah,
and
pretty
yeah, but
presumptive.
Bernie, no, he doesn't have a chance.
No chance.
And her rallies are in the hundreds of people. They're nothing. But
It's probably, I don't know. Hillary scares me, man. I'm afraid like she might be a cannibal.
yeah,
I just look at her face and I think.
Well,
she's
you know
human
that whole
flesh.
thing about, and it's sexist about, oh, what if we had a woman president and it was her time of the month and blah, blah.
yeah.
I could see that happen with Hillary.
But Hillary, it's kind of
She's through menopause.
yeah.
I
But
still
I
can
think
see
what-
it with
Isn't that over?
Hillary.
What happened with Hillary though is like now she went through menopause and now it's always her time of the month. Like she didn't. It didn't go the other way. It went like it's always.
So, isn't that what we need, though? As soon as she gets to the
Yeah.
president, all the guys, Putin's like, God damn it.
I think
We got to pull everything out.
Yeah.
I think I said
Okay.
before, like I have no
Shut
problem with voting for a woman for president, just not this woman.
Right, right.
Like if we had an actual viable female
Well,
candidate, I'd
Elizabeth
be more
Warren,
than happy.
man, I would be so supporting her campaign right now.
I'm sure you would, dude.
What about
Like
Carly
you'd be
Fiorina?
covered. You'd like
Ah.
you'd be covered in like the warm cloak of liberalism. You'd be like, God, this is
Warm
beautiful.
cloak.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
she
I'm
has
not
a
so
less.
sure about Elizabeth Warren.
What about
man. I mean, I
Carly?
like a lot of her stuff, but nah.
Yeah?
She's a little too far to the left to me, man. Somebody a little.
You know who
closer
should
to the
run?
She's
middle.
really far to the left, but it's in an economic sense. She's all about economics, the banking stuff, regulation of breaking up the big.
I gotta
those
say, right
are-
now, I would vote for anybody who wanted to put big bankers
Yeah.
in jail.
Well,
if you want to put big bankers in jail, I like your idea.
What's even more important is literally breaking
their
up
stranglehold.
breaking up the banks, force them to become several different companies privately owned, instead of having too big to fail banks where you have to bail them out or the economy will literally
Will
collapse.
tank, yeah.
So that's what his big thing is. When he gets into office, he will pass legislation requiring banks to break up.
Why does
but he doesn't want them to break up and become a lot of little private places.
Yeah,
he wants to nationalize.
No,
banks.
He doesn't. You're wrong. That. No, he hasn't.
Weren't we talking about like how E=mc² breaks down at the quantum level and it doesn't work anymore?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Is that what happens to common sense when you get to politics? It's like EMC². Like it works every other fucking place, but then you get to this level of politics and it just stops working.
Yeah,
it just doesn't. It doesn't work. Was it like that?
Well, the analogy goes further because it's at the for very large objects like galaxies and very small objects like quarks, relativity doesn't. Well, I think it actually does work pretty well, but it generally, you need quantum physics to actually calculate
augment
what those things are going to do. And like, for example, galaxies, we can predict with relativity exactly how a Mercury or this other planet is going to swing. We know exactly. We can calculate it down to the second. But when it comes to galaxies, other galaxies that we can see, they don't behave the way they should according to our theories of gravity and mass and relativity. So that's why they came up with this thing that I think is kind of bullshit of dark matter. All it is a placeholder. They say, look, we know this much matter is in galaxy X, and it's not moving the way it should with that much matter. So it must have a bunch of other matter that we can't see, and we'll just call that dark matter. There's no, they don't have dark matter in a box at MIT.
The dark matter in politics is lobby money. Stuff we can't see that affects the way things move when they're not going the way they should.
Yeah, exactly. Except dark matter, I don't think exists, and lobby money
maybe
does.
not in the universe, but it sure does in politics. There's way too much damn dark matter.
I just had an epiphany that I want recorded for posterity.
Yeah.
So what if our galaxy is really the only galaxy that exists, and it's like in a funhouse mirror room, and just surrounded by mirrors, and every other galaxy is just a reflection of our galaxy.
So then wouldn't they behave exactly like
us? No, they
us?
behave opposite, wouldn't they? You look in the mirror and your left is right and right is left.
Yeah. That's it.
We're
probably
just
figured it out.
Marble rolling around a drawer in some Men in Black from another planet.
Well, you saw that too, huh?
Office.
And I have zero credentials to be saying that dark matter doesn't exist, but I did propose my theory to an astrophysicist, and they were like, "Yeah, that sounds kind of like it might be true."
But he could have just wanted
sounds
you to stop
kind of racist.
Talking.
Yeah,
he could have just been like, "John, pass the joint, let's go."
Yeah, shut up.
Great. You're,
okay, yeah,
you're
just
so
pass
smart.
the blunt, dude.
Yeah, come on, bring it
I
around.
get it. Okay.
You're so smart, buddy.
Yeah, puff, puff, give. Puff, puff, give.
Good theory.
You're holding the blunt too long, homie.
Good talking.
Yeah,
good talking.
My hypothesis to explain the different movement of other galaxies was that the laws of physics themselves might be different in when you go between galaxies, because the distance is so enormous, so incredible, interstellar space, intergalactic space especially, that the laws of physics themselves might have different values in different parts of the universe.
So we ain't in Kansas anymore.
Yeah. Up is down.
Things work a little different over here in our galaxy.
Yeah.
We don't do it like y'all do.
They're all hillbillies.
Sure, these backwater planet
galaxies.
Your backwater planet, far, far away.
So our friend Zyra volunteered at that Bernie Sanders rally, and she got so excited she started a Facebook group called Latinas for Bernie, and that's pretty cool. So I wanted to mention that on the air, and if any female Hispanic women want to get involved in that, you should go check it out.
I'm going to start a Facebook group for if he wins, called Burn Victims.
Burn Victims.
And it's going to be for people that are let down by Bernie after he wins.
It's awesome.
John's going to be like a picture of just sad John. Is going to be your profile picture. It hurts.
This cannot be.
I need.
And if he wins and changes a bunch of shit, then I'll give you a back rub.
We have to draw up exactly how many things he has to accomplish for you to give me the back rub.
Okay.
We'll list it out.
Don't you think him just like getting in would be kind of an accomplishment? Like
of course, it'd be
just
huge.
Getting it done would be.
And I welcome his inevitable lame duck presidency where he gets nothing done. I wanted that to happen. Just like Mark likes to shake things up with idiots like Trump, I want to shake things up with a lame duck presidency where nothing gets done because and then everyone blames Congress.
Which is where the blame should lie.
Yeah.
You know something we've never talked about that I don't know that we have is term limits for congressmen.
Yeah. There's no term limits for senators. They can serve as many terms as they want as they get elected.
The senators are supposed to represent the public, right? They're supposed to represent their constituents.
I've heard things of that nature.
Okay,
before.
so what would you say is the median age of the American constituent? What's the median age
of all adult Americans?
Yeah,
I guess 50 or something.
50, okay.
40.
So some of these dudes who've been in the Senate for 30, 40 years. I mean, they have to be living that lifestyle for 30 or 40 years. You have to be kind of out of touch with the average American.
Yeah, but their states are still voting for them, Bryan.
Well, yeah, because their states are still full of fucking stupid people and uneducated people and uninformed people and people who won't do the research. The people that I'm bitching about online right now that just with their hand-me-down politics and your meme that explains everything you want to say in one meme, but it doesn't, so you post 70 more that are similar and uninformed.
I like that phrase, hand-me-down politics.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's hand-me-down politics. I don't see any of you guys. I'm talking mostly to the anti-posts when you're anti-something. You don't have one goddamn original thought. I don't ever see anybody typing something. I see, like, Beef will do it. You'll do it. I have other friends that do it. They have an original thought about something. They're like, hey, I've been researching this. I've been looking into it. They don't just post a fucking meme like, yeah, that's how it is. No, That's not. Like, most of the shit in your little picture isn't even right. Some dipshit made that in his closet while he was jerking off in his mom's basement. And it's your gospel.
Yeah.
You made it your gospel. You gave your voice away. You have that's all you got. Hand-me-down politics.
It's like a quote
and then when you post on it and say, well, do you actually believe this? And then we get into this big old discussion. Well, that's not what the meme says.
Yeah. And they don't,
that's like a quote from Thomas Jefferson over a picture of John Stewart or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Or they attribute the quote to Lincoln, and it was like the internet will be the downfall of civilization. It's like Abraham Lincoln.
80% of the stuff you read on the internet is fact, and it's Abe Lincoln.
Speaking of 80%, your buddy Donald, I got into it with him a while back because he showed a picture of the Syrian refugees, and it was a picture of like a bunch of guys, and he was like. He showed women in a hijab on the top, and it was like, women stay home and fight ISIS while the men run away like cowards. And I was like, you know what, dude? Come back to me after you've lived through a civil war and tell me how much they're cowards for leaving.
I commented on it. I saw that. I was like, oh.
And he goes, his response was, he goes, what are you talking about? He goes, 80% of the refugees are military-age men. And I was like, where'd you find that out? And he goes, I pulled it out of my ass.
And I go, then is when I stopped talking to you. You're too stupid to be in this conversation.
I like that he admitted it, but he was like,
don't admit that.
Yeah,
you have no credibility now.
One time he had a picture of somebody that was supposed to be an ISIS guy that looked exactly like one of the refugees, and I was like, that's not even the same guy.
Yeah.
I was like, all black people don't look the same. Like I had to go through the whole spiel with him.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not the same guy.
Well, he goes, I pulled it out of my ass, and he says, it doesn't matter what I say to you, I'd be wrong. And I go, yes. Unless you said the right number, then you'd be right.
Yeah, unless you had
that's how being right works. If you get the right number, you're right. Any
stuff,
other number, on the other hand,
a lot of stuff he puts
wrong.
Up is just angry. He's like just angry. He's just like an angry white guy.
Yeah,
and he's not racist at all. He just I don't like this is happening, so I have to say something.
Well, and I think that's what most people are that are posting that shit. Right. They see the meme that expresses their anger, not their thought, but their emotion, and they fucking throw it right up there.
Yeah,
and I'm just sick of it. It's like. But I just realized the other day that sometimes Facebook should be fun. Social media should be fun. It shouldn't just be a platform for your fucking political rants.
Right.
Because after a while, nobody gives a fuck. We get it. You don't like guns. You're fucking scared. Cool. You hate Planned Parenthood. Abortion is wrong. God's missing from America. Man, shut the fuck up and get on with it, dude.
Put a cat picture. Cat
in a
burrito.
I'll tell you what I have. This show has changed my mind about things, and I'm starting to go with the Mark Beef philosophy. You're all idiots. You're all hypocrites. Every single fucking one of us. And this one of the saddest things I see in my life are friends of mine on social media that find the two things that they hate and they spend their whole fucking day railing against them every single day. Man, put down your hand-me-down politics, put down your other people's ideas, and just go live your life, man.
Yeah, although the whole adopting Mark Beef's philosophy thing, I think
I'm digging it, man.
It's because it's so hands off. Though it says all it functions as is a check on hypocrisy, which is great because we all need that. But then there's no positive contribution. Well, now on the show, you do give ideas.
I can't talk to these
I think
people.
We should do such and such, which is great. That those are positive contributions, but
I can only do so much, John. I'm just one man. And with all the shit that you people put out there as supposedly your ideas,
I'm only one man.
I'm too busy with that.
Have I not?
Once you elect me president, I will give you all my ideas of what to do to fix stuff. Yeah, my platform.
Have I not come up with some of my own crazy theories?
No, you have. Right. It's true. You're able to be an idiot by yourself.
I have my own stupidity generating.
I stand on my own two stupid feet.
No.
Yeah. My stupidity generator is internal.
Maybe idiocy, but it's my.
But going back to the internet being fun. So Twitter, I've been on Twitter for a little while, and I finally figured out kind of what it's about. But I posted this thing because all I do on Twitter is just make jokes. That's it.
Right.
I was talking about making a burrito, a peanut butter and jelly burrito, and then if anyone else had ever done that,
contribution.
Yeah, and then I hashtagged Anchor Baby and like a couple other things. So that's what I do. So I recently wrote this thing.
That's you mixing white and Southwest culture.
Yeah,
I like that.
So recently I made this. Did you guys see that video from Florida? That woman that's like railing about her kids' history book or
the
slavery thing.
No, it
the
wasn't.
Thing,
it's a white lady,
and
she's talking about like Arabic numerals. This book teaches him about Arabic numerals.
Oh my God, those are our numerals.
So I made this. I posted this thing on Twitter saying, if you are a true Christian, you should use Roman numerals as God intended and not Arabic numerals that are of the devil.
Right.
And I hashtag Christianity and fight terrorism. Well,
suddenly I want to be on Twitter.
I got somebody retweeting my tweet and then replying to me saying, yeah, because that would make math so easy and you look like a guy who really understands math.
Oh
no, that would make math easier, and he spelled easier EASYIER. So
wait, did he know you were kidding or not?
He didn't know me at all.
No, but did he know you were kidding?
I don't think so, because then I replied to him. I said, says the guy who spelled easier the correct way, easier the way he spelled it.
Yeah.
And then I said something about, and I think you should check your sarcasm detector because I think the batteries are dead. And he replied back to me saying, your sarcasm sucks, and nobody likes the spilling police. This is Twitter, not the Wall Street Journal.
Oh my God, spilling. How do they not check it when they've already been called out for grammatical mistake? How do they continue to misspell?
Well, I mean, I kind of think maybe just in my head,
maybe that was a joke.
Maybe he's joking too, and he's trolling me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think I'm giving him a little too much credit because I looked on his thing, and every single tweet is like a liberal fucking meme. Every single thing is about how Muslims are being discriminated against, about how the Republicans are fucked, about how blah. Like, there's no like fun anything on his page.
Yeah. Not one goddamn
Not
cat
one
picture.
Fucking cat picture.
Not one.
That son of a bitch, man. There should be a minimum. Like, if you're going to post just all political shit, you have to do like so many cat pictures and at least one or two fucking jokes a day. Something.
Well, they say, when ancient or when future cultures look back on our internet archaeology, they're going to be like, wow, they worshipped cats
and big butts.
They invented the internet.
Gigantic.
That's what I'm going back to. I'm just going to go back to posting booty shots.
I think I'm going to do that as well.
Let's do it, D.
I'm just gonna
let's bring it back to booty.
Make memes with political things over booty
pictures
shots
of butts.
Yeah.
just look at this.
Yeah, if you're going to stay on the ass end of the world, at least make it the nice looking ass end.
Well, you know what, gentlemen? I think that's a good way to end.
With butt.
On the ass note.
Peanut butter and jelly in a
Peanut butter, jelly, and ass.
And cats.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's about it.
It was a mellow show.
Yeah. There was that one case that school principal was hypnotizing his staff and students. And hypnosis just being a very effective way for a certain percentage of the population to
get laid,
deal with stress and test anxiety and stuff. It's proven to work for 30 to 50% of people. So it's an interesting thing. But there's a law that you can't practice hypnosis without a license. So what happened though? Which I think is ridiculous.
Here's my hypnotist license.
Because it's actually really
easy.
I'm certified to hypnotize.
Is there a class I can take in
Hypnotize
Arizona?
your ass.
There probably is. And but that's so stupid because it's really easy to do. You could buy a couple books.
Are there
and
different
people.
belts for hypnotists?
Yeah.
I'm a
I got my black belt in hypnotism.
Well, here's where it gets
I
weird.
can hypnotize your ass.
He hypnotized all these people, and then so one of the students that he hypnotized got in a car crash like a month later and died.
Damn.
And then another one he hypnotized committed suicide like a couple weeks later. And then a girl that he hypnotized committed suicide that night.
Jeez.
No, and so the school, they fired him and everything because it's illegal to do the hypnotism without a license. But then the school settled with the parents of those 3 families and gave $200,000 to each family. And the guy is like, in hiding kind of. Like he's not wanted or anything, but, he's on probation. And it's like, that was all the information in the article. And I was like, how did they determine that this guy was at fault for any of these deaths? Like, especially the car crash one and the ones that happened later. Like it is weird that someone would get hypnotized and kill themselves that night. That is bizarre. But no, there's no claims that he was trying to get them to do that.
Well, was he hypnotizing people like in front of the whole class?
No,
and that's how they know that he was hypnotizing people.
No, it was privately, and other people came forward and said he's been hypnotizing us. Yeah,
but then the people that died, how do they know he hypnotized them?
He admitted it. Yeah, okay. So they found out. It was just.
At least he's honest.
Well, he lied at first and said that he had hypnotized like 30 people, and then they said, well, it turns out it was 75. So maybe there was a little bit of dishonesty, but it doesn't seem like. And he said he's like, I believe that I used poor judgment, and that's all the quote that he had.
What was the point of him hypnotizing people to begin with?
Test anxiety and for depression and stuff like that.
You know what I do to release text anxiety? I study.
So like at comedy clubs, they'll have a hypnotist come and hypnotize people in the audience to make them act like a chicken or shit like that. Has any of those people ever killed themselves like the next night, or
they've put their underwear on outside their clothes, stuff like that?
Who knows? No, but as far as there's no clinical like connection of hypnotism with suicide. It's just if anything,
Dean Koontz books.
If anything, the opposite.
But you could probably, if you got all the people that have ever been hypnotized in like a fun comedy setting, whatever, like shit like that, and then examine them and whether they ever got in a car accident afterwards or killed themselves or any bad thing ever happened to them, you could probably come up with a substantial percentage.
Yeah, but what if you got somebody like
but
me
making
in there?
A causal relationship between the
you just explained that they haven't made a causal thing about even this teacher. So, but if they're going to,
they would need a
ban hypnotists.
Yeah, they would want that kind of data.
Yeah,
right. But one of the principles of hypnotism, though, is that you can't get someone to do something that fundamentally opposes their values or what they would do. It's not it's not like the old implanting things in people. You just, it's suggestion, and there a certain amount of participation of the subject is required, and that's why about half the population really can't be hypnotized. Especially 30% just can't at all, and it's because they kind of fight it. They for whatever reason they don't want to be.
Well, plus I'm doing it for your safety. You don't want to go in my head, dude. I can't let you in there for your own safety. Like you can't go in there unsupervised.
I know.
It's fucking dangerous. I barely survive it daily.
It's a real gray area, though. They really don't know what's going on there. But it's people who participate are the ones that get
the gray area
hypnotized.
for me is on the outside of my head. On the inside, it's all black and white, man. It's clear as a bell.
All right, guys. Well,
mud.
You will have heard some gaps and technical problems in this episode, so sorry about that, but I don't think too much got cut out. Anyway,
John was hypnotizing us during those parts.
all of you, too, in the audience. You've all been hypnotized, so if you
will listen to the show, you will share it.
Yes.
All over the place.
You will share it.
It's like The Ring.
Yeah.
One show to rule them all, to bring them
You meant that
into
horror
darkness,
movie.
bind them.
Oh, yeah, we saw The Martian, too, yesterday.
Was it good?
It was all right.
Jeff said the book was pretty good.
It's pretty long.
Matt Damon.
Yeah, it's really Damon-esque.
That's one of my favorite memes right now. They're like Saving Private Ryan and all these other ones. They're like, we have spent so much money rescuing Matt Damon.
I
Just
saw that.
stop already.
Yeah. I saw that.
I would recommend Europa Report, which I think is on Netflix. Awesome underground sci-fi movie.
Isn't it kind of creepy?
Very creepy. In the end, it's insane. It's crazy. They go to the Europa, one of those.
I heard it's
moons.
really like scary in a weird way.
It's so good, so good in terms of an awesome sci-fi / it's heavy on the science movie, and then at the end, shit goes crazy. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Share the show. Click like. Ask me to be on. Give me comments. Stuff to talk about. Tell me where I'm wrong. All that. Please get involved. So, all right, guys. Thanks. See you next week. Bye.